Hey students, this session is presented by the Science Cafe channel where we'll be studying about the topic nutrition from the chapter life processes. Nutrition. If we are looking at this process called nutrition, if we take an organism which is living on earth, okay, this organism to continue its life on earth, it needs energy, and this energy is obtained from the food. So nutrition on a whole is nothing but a process by which an organism obtains nutrients from food, and these nutrients which are obtained from food are broken down to obtain energy, and this energy is used for building and repairing the tissues. Okay, we eat food, and this food is broken down to provide energy, and in turn this energy is given for the process of building and repairing the tissues. This nutrition can be seen as a complex mechanism which starts with ingestion. Ingestion is nothing but the intake of food. We have the ingestion here, which is the intake of food. After this ingestion, what happens is the food passes on to the stomach where it is digested, and the digestion takes place completely in the small intestine where it is also absorbed. And this absorbed food is broken down or oxidized to release energy, and the unwanted undigested material from the food is passed out in the feces, which is called as egestion. Ingestion is for intake of food, and egestion is for passing out the undigested food. Okay, it is a complex process which involves ingestion, digestion, absorption, oxidation, and egestion. So what do we really take in our food? When we eat food, what is that we take in through the food? These are nutrients. Nutrients are vital chemical substances which are obtained from food, and the function of this nutrients was asked in your previous year question, that is CBSE 2017. It was asked in the previous year board exam. If you are looking at the function of nutrient, the first one is going to be for the growth and development. The second one is obtaining energy. Third one is for resistance to the disease. Fourth one is for repair. What happens is the energy that is obtained from food is used for growth, resistance to the disease, and repair. Now, if you are looking at nutrition, there are two main modes of nutrition. That is going to be your autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. If you are looking at autotrophic nutrition, these are the organisms which can synthesize their own food. Organisms which can synthesize their own food from the raw materials. Examples are your plants and some bacteria. Not all plants are for autotrophic. Green plants which have chlorophyll and they can synthesize their own food are called autotrophs. And heterotrophs are organisms which cannot synthesize their own food but rather are dependent on the autotroph for their food, are called heterotrophs. Okay, in this heterotroph there are three divisions. One is your saprophytic mode of nutrition, second one is your parasitic, third one is your holozoic. If we are looking at saprophytes, these saprophytes are again organisms which feed on dead and decayed organic matters. Okay, they break down complex molecule outside their body. Outside their body they break down these complex molecule into simple molecules and then take it via eating. Okay, they eat in simple molecules, but these complex molecules are broken outside the body. Examples are your slime molds, bread molds, fungus, mushrooms. All these come under saprophytes. If you are looking at parasites, these parasites are again organisms which live inside the host or outside the host, but it continues deriving its nutrients from the host. What is a host? A host is an organism from which the parasite derives its energy. Examples are leeches, ticks, you have lice again. These are all parasites. Okay, and in holozoic mode of nutrition, what happens is complex organic molecules are taken in and broken down inside the body of the organism. So Example for holozoic is human beings, cow, animals, and most of them are holozoic. So if we are once again looking at the example, autotrophic we have green plants and bacteria. Saprophytic we have bread mold, slime mold, fungus, mushrooms, and in parasitic we have ticks, parasites, leeches, and in holozoic we have human and other animals. Okay, this is a very important question which was asked multiple times. We have it in 2017, 2018, and 2011. So do be careful with the definitions. Now, in this session, we'll be dealing in detail about the autotrophic nutrition. As discussed earlier, it is the ability of an organism to its own food, synthesize its own food from simple inorganic substances. Okay, and this autotrophic nutrition is brought about by the presence of by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, if we are looking at this word photosynthesis, there are two main words associated with this photosynthesis. One, the first word is going to be your photo. This word, see, photo, and the second word is going to be your synthesis. What this term means is that synthesis of food in the presence of photo. Photo is light. So it is a process of synthesis of food in the presence of light. So photosynthesis is a process by which green plants are the ones which contain chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is very important for the process of photosynthesis. Synthesize their own food by using simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So the raw materials needed for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide and water. And the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll is very vital. Okay. Now, if you are looking at the photosynthetic equation, which is once again a very important question in your board exam, we need to be very careful with the stoichiometric coefficients. That is, carbon dioxide is 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 12 molecules of water, gives us 1 molecule of glucose, 6 molecules of oxygen, and 6 molecules of water. Okay, so our raw materials are carbon dioxide and water. These are going to be our reactants, and the product which is obtained is glucose, oxygen, and water. And this takes place in the presence of light and chlorophyll. Okay, the oxygen which is released, is it from the water molecule or the carbon dioxide molecule? This was a previous year NEET question. Okay, if you are looking at this, this oxygen present here is due to the breakdown or splitting of this water molecule present here. This water molecule splits, has hydrogen and oxygen molecule, and this oxygen which is split here results in the oxygen which we are breathing, that the plant gives out, respires out, and that oxygen is the primary source of life on earth. So this oxygen molecule which is released by the plant is from the water molecule and not from the carbon dioxide. Okay, now if you are looking at this equation, we know that glucose is synthesized. This glucose or the carbohydrates which is synthesized is used for providing energy to the plant. Okay, once the energy need of the plant is met, the excess glucose or the carbohydrates which is synthesized needs to be preserved, and the remaining unused carbohydrates are stored in the plants in the form of starch. You need to be very sure of this. Okay, and we just like how plants store the unused carbohydrates as starch, the animals do store it in the form of glycogen. This was a previous year board question and also a previous year NEET question. Okay, plants store them as starch and animals store them as glycogen. So looking at this photosynthesis, we need to know where the photosynthesis takes place. It is absolutely the green plants, but where accurately in the green plants? If we are looking at that, we have the green plant, we take a leaf, and in this leaf we have the palisade mesophyll cell and spongy mesophyll cell. In the transverse section, if we are looking through a microscope, we can see this diagram. So what we have is a palisade mesophyll and spongy mesophyll. In this layers of cell, the number of chloroplasts is abundant, and in this chloroplast, if we are looking at this structure which is present here, this is going to be a chloroplast, Okay, if we are looking at this chloroplast, it has disc-shaped thylakoids arranged in piles called as grana. See, these are tiny disc-shaped thylakoids. This entire structure has a hole is called a its entire structure as a whole is called a grana, and the individual disc-shaped structure is called thylakoid. So what happens is along the walls of the thylakoid, the enzyme chlorophyll, the pigment chlorophyll is present. Okay, so chlorophyll, being the main vital enzyme required for photosynthesis, is present in the chloroplast. So the site of photosynthesis is the chloroplast. Okay, now we know that the chlorophyll is present in the chloroplast. Now, what happens in a photosynthesis? We know the raw material carbon dioxide and water are taken in by the plants, which is reduced to give carbohydrate. So there are three main events leading to photosynthesis. They can be remembered in the manner ACR, ACR in the order. You can remember it easily because it just follows the alphabetical order. A stands for absorption, C stands for conversion, and R stands for reduction. What happens is, if you're looking at these diagram, I'll make it very clear. The light energy from the sun falls on the leaf, and we have the chloroplast in the leaves. Okay, what happens is the chlorophyll molecules absorb this light energy. This light energy is absorbed. So the first step is over. And this absorbed light energy is converted into chemical energy. Chemical energy is in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The light energy is converted into chemical energy, which is called as the ATP. Okay, it is the ATP. This ATP is used for the reduction of carbon dioxide, the raw material, carbon dioxide into carbohydrate. Okay, this ATP is used for converting carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. So this is simple. We have the light energy coming from the sun, it falls on the leaves, and this light energy is converted by the chlorophyll into chemical energy, which is ATP. And this ATP reduces carbon dioxide to carbohydrate. Okay. Now we know that the plant needs carbon dioxide because carbon dioxide is going to be oxidized to produce carbohydrate. How does the plant take in carbon dioxide? If you are looking at this vital function is performed by the stomata. These stomatas are minute pore-like structures present on the surface of the leaf, and these structures are present in abundant if you are looking at the lower surface of the leaf rather than the upper epidermis. If you are looking at the lower surface of the leaf, these are present in abundance. Okay, if we are looking at this part, this this diagram is pretty important both in CBSE board exam and in NEET too, because you tend to mess up with the labeling parts. Okay, the you need to know each part represents what. Okay, this stomata, if you are looking, it has the epidermal cells surrounding the subsidiary cells and the central stomatal pore and the guard cells protecting them. Okay, now I'll tell you the function of each thing. The function of subsidiary cell is to protect the guard cells, and this guard cells, what happens is the stomata, when photosynthesis is performed, carbon dioxide is required. So the stomata is open to let in carbon dioxide. But when photosynthesis is not taking place, the stomata is closed because the stomata performs two main functions. One is your photosynthesis and second one is your transpiration. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is taken in, but during transpiration, what happens is water molecules in the form of vapor are given out through the stomata to maintain the plant in a cool atmosphere, because of the excessive sunlight. What happens is, to maintain the plant in a cool temperature, water as vapors are given out through the stomata. So if we are looking at this, the stomatal pore is open because of the guard cells. What happens is, when water moves inside the leaf cells, the guard cells become turgid. This word is important. When the cell guard cells are turgid, what happens is that the stomatas open. Okay, the stomatas are open when the guard cells are turgid. But when the guard cells are flaccid, That is when the water molecules move out of the guard cell, what happens is the stomata closes. Okay, the stomata closes when the guard cells are flaccid, and they are open when the guard cells are turgid. So the primary function of stomata is to take in carbon dioxide along with its transpiratory functions. Okay, in few cases, in some plants, the guard cells also photosynthesize because chloroplasts are also present in the guard cells. So even guard cells will assist in photosynthesis if they have chloroplast. Okay, now we have two activities which were given in NCERT. The first one is your is the first one is your activity 6.1, which is your variegated leaf experiment, and second one is your plant with potassium hydroxide. Right? I'll try to explain them. In this activity 6.1, if you are looking, this activity is to explain the importance of chlorophyll in photosynthesis. Okay, we take a green plant, not a green plant, we take a plant which has variegated leaves. What does this term variegated means? Variegated means a plant whose leaves have scattered chlorophyll, which are not completely entirely green, just like your crotons and your money plant. Okay, it has scattered chlorophyll, green part in some region and other color regions in some other part. So it has scattered chlorophyll in your plant. You take this plant, okay, and you keep it in the dark room for 3 days. Why do you keep it for 3 days? Is that the entire starch, which is the stored form of carbohydrate, gets used up when the plant is kept in the dark room. After this 3 days, what you do is you take this plant and you keep it in sun for about 6 hours. You place this plant in sun for 6 hours. So photosynthesis takes place. Now we know that the starch has been completely used. So when the plant is kept in the sunlight, photosynthesis takes place. And when in this leaf, only the region where chlorophyll is present, photosynthesis takes place, right? What we do now is we take the tip leaf, the leaf which is present at the top, we pluck it, we boil the leaf in water. Once we have boiled this leaf, what we do is we place it in alcohol, and we take this beaker containing alcohol along with the leaf and place it in a water bath and start heating it. What happens during this is that the chlorophyll present in the leaf dissolves into the alcohol and the leaf becomes colorless. This colorless leaf is now taken and placed in iodine solution. So what happens is this iodine solution shows the region where the starch is present in the leaf. So if we take the leaf and the leaf placed in iodine solution and see, we can see where the starch is present, and this starch is present only in regions where the chlorophyll was present on the leaf. So this is your experiment activity number 6.1. And the next activity, which is your which is with your potassium hydroxide, this activity explains the importance of carbon dioxide. You take two similar plants and you close them with a bell jar, and you line them along with Vaseline in these ends. Why do you line them along with Vaseline? Is that it does not allow outside carbon dioxide to enter in, outside carbon dioxide and air to enter in. So you close them, you seal them up with Vaseline jelly material so that outer air doesn't come in. Okay, you seal it. That's the primary function of gel substance here. What happens is when you place a potassium hydroxide in a watch glass in one jar, what happens is carbon dioxide is absorbed by the KOH solution. And in this bell jar, what happens is there is less carbon dioxide, comparatively less carbon dioxide than the previous one. And in this bell jar, there is abundant carbon dioxide. So now if we place these plants in the sun, the amount of carbohydrate produced will differ. There will be little carbohydrate produced in the first case because the amount of carbon dioxide is less. Okay, the amount of carbon dioxide in the first case is less, so the carbohydrate or the glucose which is produced is less. In the second case, we have abundant carbon dioxide, so the amount of glucose molecule produced is going to be more. This is your experiment 6.2. So if you like this session, Do subscribe and share it with your friends.